It's now the Ides of August 15, 2023. You're seeing, of course, the dumbbell before you. I have increased the screen setting for contrast to 10 and left brightness, so we can see it right here. Brightness is 0, contrast is 10, colors is 40. I might boost that just a little bit. Go back. Color, we're going to go to 50%. I'm going in the wrong direction, Jeff. There we go. And we're going to see what effect increasing the color, increasing the contrast, but otherwise leaving brightness alone will have. And all I've done is touch the screen. Tonight we're going to round up the usual suspects, but my goal really is to be able to get definitive images of 15 to 16 magnitude galaxies in the middle third of the sky. So that'll be probably in the 6700s, as that's the NGC right ascension area that is pretty much culminating at this time. I'm already seeing hints of the football shape. I'm impressed. It's only 9:06. It's now as early as 9:08, Ides of August. Here we have the Lagoon Nebula. Color is very good, although it's quite faint, although I can see the actual lagoon incursion here with the nebulosity surrounding it. I'm going to go ahead and progress relatively quickly through the nebulation, just even though it's a bit premature at this time, because my main goal is to check out 15th magnitude and fainter galaxies if I can find some. So there's our lagoon, Messier 8. It's almost, but not quite, 9:10, 50 seconds. And here is our view of Messier 20, which I don't think, yeah, that is the Trifid Nebula. I can see it over here. It's not particularly present. The sky is still bluish in color. I'm impressed we're getting it all. However, I've noticed there are clouds to the south that could be inhibiting the view tonight. Once again, my main goal is faint galaxies overhead, so I can assess whether or not I can keep the pixelation to a minimum when it comes to deep sky studies with color. So last night it kind of fell off a little bit. Wasn't able to go quite as deep as when I was using the original settings in the NGC series. Here we have Messier 18. It's listed as an open cluster, but I believe some nebulosity is associated with it. However, I have yet to actually see or image any nebulosity associated with Messier 18. So we'll make our next hop to the Swan. It's now approaching 9:14, 52 seconds, 9:13, 55. Here's our view of the Swan. There is some extensive nebulation well away from it. Again, I want to warn that there are some clouds to this culminating south. Probably some, we are looking through some clouds at this point. There's our view with the new settings, which I hope will prove out with faint galaxies as well as these beautiful, colorful nebulations discovered by Messier back in the 18th century. Here we have the Eagle Nebula. This is probably one of the more challenging of the nebulosities associated with the Milky Way. When you get a good look at it like I am getting right now, I'm rather impressed. Maybe the new settings are making this possible because the sky may not be. When you get the sense of the swooping eagle in this location here, plus this embedded dark nebulosity, you're getting a pretty good view. The cluster's obvious. But anyway, the Eagle Nebula is quite apparent. Unfortunately, no pillars of creation. Between seeing a football instead of a dumbbell in Messier 27, the dumbbell nebula planetary, and seeing a nebulosity associated with the Eagle, the Crescent Nebula is also an excellent test of seeing conditions. What you want to see, as well as the swoop of the crescent, is you want to start seeing some kind of nebulosity, very faint. You want to see some further down here in isolated regions, as well as any traces within the bow of the crescent itself. Hard for me to say, given the fact I'm only looking at a tiny camera screen, but it looks like a fairly decent view. As I say, however, I really want to start being able to definitively see 15th and 16th magnitude galaxies. And that's where we're going to head right after we get one final view of the dumbbell, because I want to make sure it's fully footballized. It's now 9:21 and a half seconds. So let's go take one last look at the dumbbell and seek out some 15th magnitude plus galaxies. Here we have the dumbbell once again, Messier 27. I pushed it down to the dark bar region. Most of it is right on the line in the high contrast region of the screen. We're going to give it, now it's 23 minutes after the hour according to the G11 handset. I'm going to let it form, take the image form until about 45 after, which is another 15 seconds. And that should be about as much as the imager will compile of the light. I am seeing nebulosity. I'm not quite able to make out the football frontier to the 2 o'clock position. The central star is quite visible. That's excellent because usually it gets swamped out. I just hope the swamping out isn't due to the fact don't have the magnitudinal reach any further. So actually I let this thing slide a little longer. It's now 10 seconds after the 24th minute of 9 o'clock. Let's head out. What we're looking for here is a magnitude 15, 0.9 by point arc minute spiral with a ring, NGC 6740. As I recall, when I was doing my original quest of the 6700 to 6750s, you could literally see the core of the galaxy as a star and a nebulous ring out in the distances from it. And I'm hoping that this magnitude 15.9 by 0.8 arc minute, 200 million light year distant galaxy in Lyra will give us that view this evening. And I'm looking at the screen. Frankly, I can't tell. So let's give it, let's say another, looking at the handset, let's give it till 27 after to see if it'll fully generate on the screen without me moving around. Okay, we're coming up now. 3, 2, 1. Let's hope it's on the screen. Adios. I'm now jumped up to the 6800 series of NGC, and the scope is not too far off, maybe 10 degrees off culmination at this point, at right ascension 1930. This is NGC 6804, Planetary Nebula in Aquila. I have imaged it previously. It's only about 9 degrees above the celestial equator, and it seems to me to be quite apparent on the screen, and it's reminiscent of the depth of magnitude I have been getting before I started experimenting with color settings. So this is very promising. It's magnitude 12.4, 63 by 50 arc seconds. The central star is 14.2, 5,600 light years distant. NGC 6809 is a great test of the Deep South. It's that globular cluster, also known as Messier 55 in Sagittarius. Bright, magnitude 6.3, large, 19 arc minute stars of magnitude 11.2, class 11, so it's pretty sprawling, 17,000 light years distant, but most importantly, it's 31 degrees south. And we are seeing stars, although they're bloated, so that tells me that there's quite a bit of atmospheric disturbance. However, the transparency is good. Another thing though, there's a tint of red to the cluster itself, which means I may have overdone it with the color setting. Go away. All right, we've now got another galaxy in Aquila. This one's interesting because it's brightish, magnitude 11.2. However, it's face on, 3.5 by 3.5 arc minutes, spiral with a large bar, but most importantly a ring, 70 million light years distance, and it's at minus 10 degrees, and the galaxy is clearly present right there. The question is how much definition we're getting of the extended structure. This is better than I believe I was catching it just last night, because I do believe I included this as part of my list when I was exploring these faint fuzzies in association with color settings. There's a little bit of pixelation up there, but it's not irksome. So let's go ahead and check another one. By the way, the magnitude on a face-on galaxy, the extensions are probably 4 magnitudes fainter than the core, which puts this at about 15 to 15.5 magnitude in terms of the reach of the imaging system. This would be unexpected if we see it. This is a faint magnitude 13.4 galaxy, fairly large, 1.7 by 1.1, so football-shaped galaxy in Sagittarius. It's at minus 28.5 degrees. What I like about this is we are seeing stars. This one right here is particularly sharp. So there's a good chance that one of these faint fuzzies, and knowing that the screen is likely to reveal something in this region here, could actually be the galaxy. But there's also some artifacts. I'm seeing artifacts on the screen, as well as space bugs that are crawling around. You want to watch out for them when you're doing interstellar travel in your UFO. There's the galaxy right there. Very, very nice. That far south. Wow, and that large, 1.7 by 1.1 arc minute. Well, I have yet to get a view of Barnard's galaxy, NGC 6822 in Sagittarius. It's very large, 15.4 and 14.2 arc minutes. Brightish, 8.8, but it's in a bad part of the sky. There are some similarly large satellite galaxies of M31, the Great Andromeda Galaxy, but they're high enough up in the sky that you can usually make out at least the core region. The galaxy is an irregular, 1.8 million light years distant, and it's almost minus 15 degrees. It's just too large and too far south to expect to image it, and if I ever do definitively see it, it will be on a spectacular night of seeing. Well, I would say we're starting to get our mojo back on deep sky studies. Here's the galaxy we're looking for. I'll give you the spec on it. It's NGC 6835 in Sagittarius, magnitude 12.5. It's semi-oblate, 2.4 by 0.7 arc minutes, spiral with a large bar, 71 million light years distant, and it's at minus 12.5 degrees. The sky around it is quite good. The extension looks very good on the outside the core on this near edge-on galaxy. It looks comparable to what I remember seeing when I was running through the 6800 through 6850 series. So, like I said, I'm starting to regain my faith in the ability to use color as well as capture deep sky, faint fuzzies, without color, like galaxies. Now this is very intriguing. I don't think I've ever seen a 14.2 magnitude open cluster, although I must have run through it because I've done the NGC 60. Oh! Yeah, I would have run to it a couple, maybe a week ago. NGC 6846 open cluster Cygnus, magnitude 14.2, only half an arc minute in size. The brightest stars are magnitude 15. It's called a widely spread but pretty tightly packed group of stars in terms of magnitude. 14,500 light years distant. That's a pretty distant open cluster. Not sure what we're seeing on the screen, where it might be. However, I thought we'd image it just because of its peculiarities. Well, I was wondering when I might knock off this evening. It's now 9:48. I keep having to check and subtract 1 because it's on universal time and I'm not adjusting for daylight savings. This is NGC 6853. It's a planetary nebula in Vulpecula. You probably know its other name. We are clearly into sky dark. The question is whether or not we're seeing the full extent of the football shape, and I do believe that is the case. So I think with these new settings, by brightening up the screen, and I'm going to cycle through them again one more time so we can be sure we lock them down. We are at a brightness of 0, contrast of 10, and a color of 50, which suggests that I should go back and look at one of those faint nebula, let's say the Swan Nebula, before we carpe knocked them out. And here we go, Messier 17, the Swan Nebula. Some call it the Nike swoosh. That's an attribute to the astronomer Tammy Plotner, whom I used to write articles with and who used to contribute to the Astro.Geekjoy website online back around the turn of the millennium, in which we had no imaging. We might have had some sketches, but we mostly painted pictures of the night sky in words. So with that, we're going to bid adieu to the occasion and toast the fact that we are able now to join both color with deep sky reach. As so far as I can tell, and I still have to look over these images tomorrow, but they look very promising. So hopefully I'll be able to stay pretty close to these settings, get color, and at the same time continue to reach as deep as I have throughout the NGC series, which will begin again as soon as the 7050 to 7099 series is in a good sky position for going deep. Carpe Noctem.